abandoned town of Shelby Oaks.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 horror film Shelby Oaks. The film is co-written and directed by Chris Stuckman and it stars Camille Sullivan and Sarah Dern. Right, the film focuses on a sister, Mia. She is searching for her missing sister, Riley. Now Riley presents like a supernatural type show, and she's gone missing as well as the rest of her crew. She starts uncovering some clues that kind of lead her down a very dark path in order to try and find her sister. It turns into a really terrifying mystery and potential evil. Right, what are my thoughts on Shelby Oaks? Well, this one has garnered a lot of attention because it has been made. The creative force behind it, Chris Stuckman, as many of you will know, is a content creator on YouTube. He's been on YouTube a long time. He's a film reviewer. He's one of the top film reviewers on YouTube, and he's always wanted to be a filmmaker. And this is his first film. It started off as a Kickstarter, did really, really well, and then Mike Flanagan got involved as a producer, and then Neon got involved. So really, all his dreams came true with this, really, Chris Stuckman. So I've been quite looking forward to this because this has elements of found footage, which Chris Stuckman's a big fan of. It's got mockumentary stuff going on, and it's also got traditional filmmaking. So it's like a mixture of all three, to be honest, this film. It's not more found footage than mockumentary and so on and so forth. It blends all three of them. Does it do that effectively? Arguably, I'd say it's probably its biggest. There's two big weaknesses for me for this film. The first one is that it's playing around with too many genres, in my opinion. And it gets a little bit convoluted in regards to the story, a little bit overly complex and convoluted, that kind of makes you over-concentrate, if you like, to try and follow the film. And I get that. I mean, I don't like being pandered to as a film viewer. It really frustrates me most of the time, but sometimes it's a fine line between confusion and, clarity. And sometimes films go veer too far into one or the other sort of thing. And this veers a little bit too far into confusion and convolution. But ultimately, there is a lot going on in this film. And I think there's clear talent here as well from Chris Stuckman. He knows how to generate a scare. He also has picked a very, very good cast here because we've got... I think an outstanding performance by Camille Sullivan as Mia. Really, really impressed me with her performance. Massively emotional throughout most of the film. She feels like she's constantly in tears. It probably took a lot out of her, the performance. But I thought she did a really good job of kind of taking us along for the ride with her. Some of the choices that she made in the film, I don't necessarily think were choices that many would have made. I mean, there's one in particular where she's got clear evidence of foul play on a video cassette and still chooses not to go to the police with it. Thinks she can solve it herself, which to me was just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Make a copy of it if you like for yourself, but give it to the police. I mean, let them have a go at investigating it at the same time. But also as well, there is some really attention-grabbing, spooky moments in this that ultimately kind of grab your attention in regards to the scares that it's trying to generate, that made me kind of jump up a couple of times. They're not what you would describe as traditional jump scares, because he's clearly and obviously tried to kind of move away from that, because he knows that, you know, horror fans as a rule don't really like jump scares if they're not earned. But there's some very creepy moments in this, I have to say, especially at the end, because it's kind of focused as well on this serial killer, I suppose, that's got this kind of supernatural elements going on with him and what he's done, that's tied into the missing sister sort of thing. And this is what I mean, it kind of gets a little bit overly confused and convoluted, but it makes a little bit more sense when you're watching it. It's just a little bit more difficult to explain it, if that makes sense. But yeah, some very, very sinister moments and some very dark and freaky moments. And I have to say that I thought the ending really delivered. It didn't pander to the audience. It didn't necessarily give you a happy ending. In fact, it didn't. So some people will walk away from this thinking, "Oh, that was a bit of a downer." But it's a brave ending, I suppose. I'd never really have an issue with creators if they stick to an original vision and they don't kind of pander. And that's what you get here. I think the whole final act of the film I thought was impressively done. It kind of blended everything that we've seen before, all the hints and some of the scares that we've seen before. It all kind of generates into like this final act where she comes across this cabin out in the woods with this old lady that appears innocent, but may not just be as innocent as she makes out, sort of thing. I thought it worked really well. And it taps into a lot of like our fears. You know what I mean? You've got like abandoned prisons, you've got woods at the middle of the night, you've got like almost like demonic dogs. I mean, there's loads of stuff going on here, you know, in regards to tapping into like this very raw thing that we have as humans, you know, these irrational fears of, you know, the dark and abandoned places and woods and all this kind of stuff. And this kind of, you know, explores many of them, really. And I think there's, like I said, there's a lot of good ideas going on here in this film. I think probably too many, because they don't all kind of work with each other. It's almost too much going on. You know, it's trying to tap into the whole, you know, bit of Blair Witch here and there. It's trying to tap into, you know, Lake Mungo here and there. It's trying to, you know, tap into all these influences, I would say, for Chris Stuckman. And I think probably maybe needed to kind of say, okay, right, you know, I'm going to put them to one side. I'm just going to focus on these bits for the film and just really zone in and focus on, you know, one or two areas rather than kind of almost putting too much in the film. But I enjoyed it, and I think there's talent here. I would like to see something else from Chris Stuckman. A more, you know, maybe second film a little bit more refined. But yeah, I had a good time with this, you know, and good luck to him. I hope he does really well with the film. He deserves to get some success from it, and hopefully we will get a follow-up film. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.